Welcome.
New Year's Day, episode number 2.
Yes.
Banging them out today,
That's what we
one after
do.
the
That's what we do
other.
for you. We showed up on a holiday.
That's right.
Are we getting holiday pay? No.
No.
Are we probably paying to put out this episode losing money?
Yes. Are we here because we do not party hard on New Year's Eve?
Yes.
So here we are, New Year's Day, hanging out.
Yes. So New Year's is so interesting, right? Like this whole thing about new year, new you, resolutions. I don't do resolutions. I do words of the year. That's what I do with my clients. And I actually have like a running list. Like they'll tell me what it is and I like write it down.
Okay.
And so we can go back to like what was last year's. And it's just a word to kind of like orient yourself to versus a resolution.
I like that.
hate New Year's resolutions.
Like,
Mm.
so 2 therapists have been practicing forever and a day are telling you, do not fall for the New Year's resolution. It's so ridiculous in its whole sense. And let's just break it down in terms of like, okay, today is actually January 1st. Whatever goal you said you were going to do, are you actually starting it today?
No.
Right. For those of you who are like, all right, I'm going to go to the gym for the new year. You're not going today.
Because then you're like, oh, gym's closed. It's the holiday.
It's a holiday. I ate too much last night. I drank too much last night.
You still got the leftover. Once I finish the mac and cheese.
Right. So the point is that like you're going to start your whatever new goal it is whenever you actually decide to start it. So the New Year's resolution thing is just silly in all aspects.
So we've had some stuff, things we're not going to do this year.
Or things that we are going to change about this year to make it more effective than it was last year.
Yeah, I'm calling it, this is my year of subtraction.
I love that for you.
I know, because we talked about that, like trying to do less. Yeah, year of subtraction.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So my first is we're no longer going to wait for motivation.
Yes.
We're no longer going to wait for motivation. We are going to take action. And here's the thing that I hope everybody can kind of take as a tip, because I hear this a lot and I know you do too. One of the things that clients will often say is, I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I know what I need to do. Right. And so that is so impactful because your brain has actually sent you the message over and over and over again. This is what we need to do. Like, I know what is going to help us. This is what we need to be doing. Then fill in that blank, whatever that thing is. That's what you need to be doing. So when you say, I know what I need to do, cognitively, you're in check. Your brain has told you. So now it's just the action part. And then what stops us from the action part is we wait for this gust of motivation that is going to drag us out of bed, put our shoes on, and it's going to get us outside or get us on the treadmill or get us to the gym. So we're going to stop looking for motivation. We're just going to say, I need to do what it is I know I have to do.
Yeah, and we have a whole episode on motivation that we would encourage you to take a listen to. Okay, so I said year of subtraction. So I think a lot of times when we think about new year, new me, or resolutions, we're like, what am I going to start doing? So what if we say, instead of what do I want to add, what am I done carrying? What am I going to put down? And a lot of times, and people don't realize this, but the fastest growth comes from subtraction. So you will see the quickest growth by stop doing something because you've been doing it.
The stuff that doesn't
And
work.
when you don't, you're like, that is the fastest growth often is when we stop doing something.
Stop doing the old shit.
Yeah. Comes from subtraction.
Okay.
Yeah.
My next one is in terms of changing the things or subtracting from what you've done before is the goals that you do set up. So if you finally do say, this is what I want to change this year, or this is what I'd like to have move differently this year, is work on the goal that you're setting and set yourself up for success. Right. So you have that one.
I have something on that.
Yeah.
But go roll out.
So, and again, in terms of the idea of subtraction, make it smaller. These big, huge goals are what get us to not succeed because they're so big that we think we're off track. We think we've ruined it already. We didn't do it immediately. So forget it. I'll do it again next year. And so it's making those goals very small instead of very big and making them small enough that we can make progress on them. So let's go from big, huge goals to small, more pinpointed goals that we can actually obtain.
Yeah. So to piggyback off of that, one of mine is I think a lot of times it's like, I need a better mindset because I know what I should be doing.
Right.
But sometimes it's not a better mindset, it's better conditions. So change the conditions. So you know that phrase, bloom where you're planted? Okay. Well, if I'm planted in a dumpster, I say this to clients all the time. And I have like one of my like quote cards. It says, instead of blooming where I'm planted, perhaps we should plant ourselves in areas and places that encourage us to bloom.
Right.
So if it's not getting done, it's not just the mindset. You also need to look at the conditions of what it is. And maybe that needs
Mm.
to change,
Yes.
not just the mindset.
Right. And to go with the whole blooming thing,
Mm.
um, it's okay when we talk about subtraction, like weed the hell out of your garden. Like if you've got weeds that are holding you back, if you've got weeds that are ruining your sunshine,
Subtract them.
subtract them, pull them out, get rid of
Fear
them.
subtraction.
That's right. Like if and again, it's that kind of conversation in your brain where your brain goes like, I know who I shouldn't be hanging out with anymore, or I know that this particular person brings me down. Weed them out. This year, weed them
Snip.
out. Mhm. Yep.
Okay, things we're not doing. So, if something requires self abandonment, it is not good. So, any plan that requires you to override your limits, it's not ambition, it's just old conditioning. Self abandonment is not heroic on any
Mm-mm.
level. It is not. So, stop doing that to preserve either a relationship, an idea, whatever it is, a job, like stepping back and looking, if I stop doing X, Y, and Z, right? Like, have I erased myself to the point of like almost out of existence
Yeah.
in here just to preserve this?
Hmm. Yeah.
That's not really a plan.
And, I think that at its core is that whole, liking yourself and putting yourself first and
Hmm.
self-care, which we've talked about over and over and over again this past year. And so what we're not doing is you're not putting your self-care and your sense of self last anymore.
You're not even, yeah, it's like learning to put it not just last,
Hmm.
it's not even like third and fourth. Like,
Right.
we're learning to flip it on its head. Like, it should be
Yeah.
first. It should be first.
I agree. All right. Other things that we are not doing. We are not going to keep an all or nothing mentality
Oh,
anymore. So think about and challenge yourself as you go through your days. How is your all or nothing thinking disrupting your habits, your goals, your hobbies? So if you have a craft and you enjoy, knitting, let's say, and you start off saying, I need to knit, this sweater by the end of the month, which great for you guys if you can do that. I've never been able to do
to knit?
to knit.
Me
No.
neither.
But if that's your goal and it's halfway through the month and you're just not there, we're not abandoning it anymore. We're not downing ourselves. We're not uh, being our worst enemy by saying we failed. It's not all or nothing. It's look at me. I did it for 2 weeks. It's halfway done. I will continue to work on this. I will continue to do this. And back to the self esteem and the self assurance is I enjoy this. I like this. This is good for me.
Hmm.
I'm going to keep going with this. So it's not black or white. It's not all or nothing. We are a work in progress and you're your own cheerleader. So we keep going with those things. So we're going to drop that all or nothing this year.
I love that.
Yeah.
And this kind of piggybacks off of that is focusing more on capacity instead of consistency, right? So we're like, be consistent, like show up every single time. Well, instead of like, I'm going to do this 5 times a week, really honestly ask yourself, what is reasonable for me
Yes.
in terms of going to the gym on my hard weeks? Because you will have hard weeks. Don't wait for the hard week and then be like, screw it, fuck it, like
Mhm.
I'm out.
I
There goes
listen.
the plan. No, no. So really make your plans with capacity in mind, not just consistency.
Yeah.
Consistency is no good if you don't have the capacity to do it.
Yeah. I think that's a great point is if people can start to plan for the hardest weeks and start
Yeah.
with that goal, right?
Plan
Like,
for your capacity. If you are laid up because you recently had a surgery, you will not be walking on the treadmill 2 days after. But if you don't plan for capacity and you're like, well, I treadmill every day. And then
just
I will
getting a little
get
personal.
mad at mostly myself versus if I focus on capacity, okay, 2 days after I will want to go on the treadmill, but my
Right.
capacity will say no. So I'm going to do a lap around the
Yeah.
house and
And to your point, that's a great example. So she is calling me out and she is 100% right.
in a loving,
In a
loving
loving
way.
way. And, but that's a great idea of that black or white thinking, the
Yeah.
all or nothing, right?
Yeah.
Is that, can I do that for a couple weeks? No, I can't. It is important to me. And my mental health kind of coincides with me doing that. What else can we do? We've got to change the goals. We have to be kinder to ourselves. And then we have to say, okay, well, what's reasonable on our hardest week?
Yes.
What is actually reasonable and what
Correct.
can I do? I think if we start planning on those harder weeks,
Yep.
then there's going to be a lot more success.
And that's, I think, the flaw in so much of the planning is because we go into it from a place of new year, it's great.
Mhm.
And we just, I don't know where people are like, yeah, I'm never going to have a hard week. Really, never one, not one. That's the only thing I can freaking guarantee
Right.
that you're
I'm a
going to
little
have.
jealous if you actually
I will
lead with that.
guarantee
I
that you're
will
going to have a
never.
hard week. So that is really the first thing I should be planning for because that is a
Right.
guarantee.
Right. Right. And then I'm winning on the other weeks where it's an easy
Correct.
week because this is doable. My
Hmm.
plan for my hard week is definitely doable on my
Yep.
easy week.
Yep.
Piggybacking off of that, what
Ooh.
we are not going to do is we're not going to judge ourselves too harshly on our plans, on our goals. So you need to build in treats. You need to build in rewards. You need to build in ways to celebrate those small successors instead of over focusing on the days I didn't do it all. So back to the examples of, if I'm trying to fit something in 3 times a week and, there are weeks that go by and I only did it twice. I don't chastise myself about that. I don't get mad at myself. I don't judge harshly. What I say is, did I get it in this week? Did I do anything about my goal this week? I did. I went 2 times instead of the 3 because it was a really hard week. I still get the reward for that. If my reward is that I'm going to treat myself to a dinner that I am excited about, I want my ice cream from my favorite place. Great. I did what I said I was going to do. I was going to stay back to the word consistent. I was going to stay consistent with my goals. And so treating ourselves instead of judging ourselves, that's
Hmm.
what we're going to do this year. And we're going to get rid of the judgment.
So this is adjacent.
Yeah.
But rest is not a reward. Rest is not a reward, but rest is a prerequisite for
Mhm.
clarity and
Mhm.
choice. Burnout makes every single thing feel urgent. And we did a whole episode
I
on
did.
burnout. Encourage you to listen to it. But when we rest, it makes the truth very obvious to us. So when you do that, right? If you think about rest, like what is the purpose? I'm like earning it. Rest is necessary if at some later point I want to make decisions that are clear, I feel good about,
Mhm.
and they make sense. You cannot do that from a sense of urgency. So forced rest is helping you do that. So if you think about it that way, like at some point I'm going to have to make a decision. This restful downtime, even if it's
Mhm. Sure.
unrelated, right, is helping to give my brain some space,
Yes.
which I'm going to need at some future determined
Yeah.
place.
Mhm.
So thinking about it that way, like it is not a reward. It's something I need so that I can function, especially functioning with like clarity and making decisions and making choices,
Mhm.
which we do a lot of
Yes.
in a new year.
Yes, it
Sort of.
depends on what I think rest is ambiguous for some people, which I can totally identify with. But I think rest, I think, and maybe that's something we'll have to talk about at some point in the future, is for people who struggle with the idea of rest or people who are, kind of always a little more on the anxious moving sense. The idea of rest is sometimes viewed as a reward, right? Like I get all my stuff done and then I can rest. I can definitely identify with rest sometimes being just what you do when you're exhausted. And that is not how Kate is talking about it. Kate's talking about this restful place where we give ourselves space to process things we need to process, work through some things that are going on in our head, and almost just settle. The word that comes to my mind is stabilize, just
Hmm.
become more still. So I think, and maybe we'll have to circle back to that some other time
We are
because
in
rest
our,
is for people who function a little bit where we're just like always have a productivity list in our head.
oh, the
Yeah.
old like my worth is tied
Yes.
to my
I think that
productivity.
rest can sometimes be very ambiguous and in a struggle to figure out how to lean into it to get it to be helpful.
Right. And sometimes therein lies the problem, right? It's like, I need a clear indication on what rest actually is
Yep.
so I can make sure that I'm
Yep.
doing it correct.
Yep. I need to know
But
what's the
we,
purpose
yes,
of the rest.
what's the why?
The
But we are
purpose.
going to do an episode on hibernation. And then maybe we will
Yes.
do another episode
Yeah.
on rest.
Okay. So what we're going to do this year and what we're not going to do, we are going to stop asking why and we are going to replace it with what. And we have hit this a couple times. We will
Mm-hmm.
continue to push this. So perfect examples are, why does this happen to me? Why does my boss pick on me? Why are my finances the way they are? Instead, we are just going to replace the why with the what. What is happening with my relationship with my boss? What is going on with my budget? What is going on with my finances? What do I need to change to make more
Mm-hmm.
money? What do I need to change to live more comfortably? What do I need to change about my job? What do I need to change about my communication with my friends or family?
Mm-hmm.
So instead of the whys, which can take us into a very deep spin internally, we're going to focus on the what, which will also push a little bit more of those actions, which we're kind of trying to lean everybody more towards. So,
And the why, it's like that is the thing. I hear it, like, we hear
Yeah.
all the time in therapy, like, "I was anxious, I don't know why." And it's like, okay, but does that change the outcome? No, it doesn't. If we're sitting in here and I'm saying, "Nina, I'm cold," right? And it's not like, "Do you think it's because the
Right. I'm not
air
going to say
condition?"
why.
Like,
Why would you
"Do you
feel
think
cold?
it's because" no, it doesn't change that I'm cold, but if I say, like, "What can I do?" Well, I have
Mhm.
a very lovely, I don't know if you saw them, pair of red mittens in my
I did
bag.
not.
Oh, yeah. I think everyone should have red mittens, first of all. You just should. It was from the Hallmark Christmas
Oh
Experience.
my
I felt like it
gosh.
was appropriate to have red mittens because, like, everyone has red
It's the
mittens, right?
aesthetic for sure.
Yeah, but I would go over there and say,
Mhm.
"What can I do about it?" "Well, I have these mittens I
Mhm.
can put on.
Yep.
There's a blanket over there, like, I'll grab that."
Yeah.
Or I could be sitting here pondering the why.
I feel like, if you think about it in terms of why is just too deep. It's almost
It's
too deep. Yeah,
philosophical.
it's too deep.
Yeah.
And we don't need to go too deep this year. What we want to do is what can I do to fix whatever it is that I'm upset about? Replace your why with what?
Okay, we're gonna stop making decisions on based on who you have been, and start making decisions on who you are becoming. And the idea of this is that old versions of you had good reason to do what they did. Those parts are not in charge anymore, right?
Thank God.
So if I have a critical self voice, that part was formed at some point when being critical of myself was protective in nature. And so that's what I mean by they had good reasons, even if it doesn't seem like it makes sense. Addiction, right, is a
Mhm.
part. And people are like, well, what is protective about? Well, they were trying to protect you from something, right? But so those are old ways of operating, and those ways are not in charge anymore because now we're adults. Now we have agency. A lot of times these parts kind of are formed when we're children and we don't have that. But now as adults, we do. So we can make decisions based on who we want to be and based on who we are becoming, right? So if I set a boundary, it's like, okay, if I've always been the go along to get along, that's making it, and I just say, like, I don't care where me, that's me making a decision based on who I have been versus who do I want to be? I want to be a person that has opinions. I want to be a person that people like ask, hey, what do you think about this? So I need to start having opinions. So I'm going to say, I really would like Italian food for dinner
Mhm.
tonight,
Yeah.
right?
And I think it's a great goal to take inventory of going into a new year, how you think you want to pivot, right? How you think you
Hmm.
want to change, because it is absolutely okay to look back on a year and say, you know what, this was really great about it. This was not so great. When
Hmm.
you focus on those not so greats, and again, we're going to go to the what, not why, what was not so great about it? And if you look at it and you go, I didn't travel to where I wanted to travel, I didn't go out with my friends the way I wanted to. Okay. So what are we going to do about that this year? Get it. It's okay. You're flexible. Just don't hit these mics. You look like you're about to get decapitated.
Wait, the
Dude,
buzz went
stop.
away.
I'm just not going to move.
Oh my gosh,
Okay.
this is so crazy.
But anyway, in terms of just that, what do you want to change about yourself? And then answer those questions. Like Kate said, what do I want to change? I want to be the person who says, this is what I want to eat for dinner tonight. And so going forward, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to focus on that. And I'm going to say, when you ask me where I want to go to dinner tonight, I'm going to give you two places that I really want to go. I'm going to eat what I want.
Okay. Here's one, and it's not so much here's what we're not doing. Sort of. We're going to stop over functioning. If you are consistently the most regulated person in every room you enter, that is not leadership, that's over functioning. Healthy systems share regulation. So asking, why am I always the calm one? Does this work for me? Typically, it doesn't.
Mhm.
And how can I surround myself with people that are able to share regulation with
Mhm.
me? And I say this because I think as therapists, we get into this work, right? Because we learn how to regulate and
Sure.
we help clients that are dysregulated sometimes. But if you are consistently in your personal life the most regulated person in the room,
Mhm.
what are you doing? And
Mhm.
who are you hanging out with?
Right.
Like, why are we doing that? Why are we doing that? Because
Yeah.
it consistently puts you in a position where to survive that situation, you're over functioning,
Yes.
overcompensating. You're doing that over and over and over again. You're not always supposed to be the most regulated person in the room,
Mhm.
right? Like, you want to be in a room where you can share your small stuff and
Mhm.
people can hear it and it doesn't add
Yes.
to their stuff. And it's like, oh, I can't even hear it. It's too much. You're supposed to be the strong, stable one. Like,
Mhm.
no, I'm going to be in a room where I can share regulation. So maybe I can have a good cry. Maybe I can not have the answer to something. And maybe I can be confused about something.
Yeah.
I can be the one that doesn't have a plan.
Right.
Don't you want to be that
Right.
person?
Yeah. Well, it's like, do you ever talk to a lot of people and they'll be like, oh, I'm the mom of the group.
Hmm.
And I was like, I get that.
Why are we doing that?
But yeah,
Why are we doing that?
because you already then have this identified role. And so there's no way for you to go into those social situations then already not in mom mode. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to take care of everybody. I'm going to make sure everybody gets home okay. And that's wonderful. And that's that's a part of who you are and your personality. But like Kate was saying, but that's not necessarily leadership, though. It's not.
It's not.
It's really just role playing, and then
Yes.
you don't get to go outside of that role. And that's her point: is that you don't get to emote outside of that role. You're going to
No,
stay in
you
it.
have to be the strong, stable one,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I think this is, I don't know if this is just women that do this, but ladies, the friend you have to put an air tag on, stop doing that. That does not make you the mom. We need to have a conversation with said friend. The people with the air tag, they're like, she's
know,
not,
yeah.
that person has no agency.
Yeah.
We must find them. No, stop. It's not funny anymore.
The girl you have to air tag.
Oh my gosh. You haven't seen that? The clip it on the back of your outfit. You don't even know.
Oh man. Okay. No.
It's not good. It's not good.
All right. Let's see. Oh, here's something, and it is not exactly what people love to hear, but the waking up earlier is beneficial to most people in terms of setting your year to work differently than it currently does. So for people who wake up like right before their alarm clock or at their alarm clock, and then they get ready and they head right out the door, right? If you are looking to find a little bit more peace and try to get a little less chaos and try to structure yourself a little bit more and fit in more hobbies and anything really, a time to read, all those things. Research does show that getting up earlier in your day will help to set all those things up. I know it's very annoying because most people want as much sleep as they could possibly get, but setting that alarm, getting up about an hour earlier than you need to actually really adds a lot of more peaceful time to your days.
Yeah, so maybe flip the script on that, right? Like some people refuse to identify as a morning person. You don't need to identify as a
I'm not a morning person.
at all. But you can say, I need X amount of time. Like for me, I need minimum. So I know exactly how long it takes me to get ready.
Mhm.
I need minimum an hour before that.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter what time I'm starting my day. That is always how I kind of operate it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you're saying.
Yeah, and it's hard, right? It's hard to get people to buy into that because like, why am I going to get up an hour early? What am I going to do? Why would I be up? But it really does help to center you, and you will find things to do with that hour. Like you will have a cup of coffee or have a cup of tea
You
or
will
sit
learn to
longer.
rest.
Meditate. You might do lovely things, but it will add a little bit more peace and a little bit more structure and discipline to your day. So as much as it's hated to get up an hour early, it is beneficial.
All right. I
Got
have
one last one?
two. Triggers are not problems to eliminate, they are data. So don't suppress them because insight beats depression every single time. That's why therapy exists. That's why
Yeah,
it still
we
exists,
need it.
right?
Mhm.
Right? Because suppression doesn't work. If it did,
That's
you
right.
wouldn't be sitting on our couch.
No.
Right. And what we help to do is get some insight around the thing. So
Yes.
triggers are not bad. They are giving you very valuable information.
And to decipher them, go back to the why and the what. Don't ask, why does this trigger me? Ask, what
What is
just
going on?
triggered me?
What
What about it
happened?
just triggered me?
What
What
happened
did
in
it
my
make me
body?
feel?
What was my
Yes.
experience? What was I feeling? What was I experiencing?
You don't
All
have
of
to
that stuff.
extinguish every trigger. That is not really
Mm-mm.
purposeful at all. In the trigger is the data as to what is happening, what
Mhm.
is being triggered, what emotion is being triggered, what feeling, what memory, what traumatized event. All of the information is in there. So when you get triggered, it's what about this triggered me and what did I feel? What am I thinking now? What am I feeling now? And that's the information you need to then do some work.
I love the work.
Do the work.
I love the work. Hopefully these tips helped you in the new year.
Hmm.
Say me. It's back same bullshit I'm on. All right. Until next time, stay nearly normal.